For more than 60 years, the Vatican has guarded a secret that could forever change the history of humanity. A mystery wrapped in silence, speculations, and theories that is now about to be revealed. The third secret of Fátima, a direct message from the Virgin Mary, was concealed for decades, but recent events indicate that we may be witnessing its fulfillment. What was really said? Why did the Church keep it hidden? And most importantly, could what is happening now be proof that the prophecy is unfolding before our eyes? What you are about to hear might be the most important message of your life. But I must warn you, this is not a revelation for everyone. If you are not ready to face the truth, this is your chance to walk away. But if you feel that something strange is happening in the world and you are seeking answers, stay until the end. Every second of this video is crucial. Before we continue, I invite you to be part of this powerful movement of prayer. Type in the comments right now, "Virgin of Fátima, protect us." Together we will spread this message and strengthen our faith in this critical moment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do so now and activate the notification bell. This information was hidden for a very long time, but today it will finally be revealed. Now get ready. What you are about to discover may leave you speechless. Since it was announced, the prophecy of the third secret of Fátima has generated intense speculations and debates. The content of this secret was so impactful that the Vatican decided to keep it hidden in 1960, claiming that the world was not ready to know it. But why? How grave could this message be to be suppressed for so long? It all began in 1917, when the Virgin Mary appeared to 3 children in Fátima, Portugal. During these apparitions, she entrusted them with 3 secrets. The first revealed a terrifying vision of hell, warning of the need for conversion. The second secret foretold historical events, including World War II and the spread of communism. But the third secret, the most impactful of all, was the only one that remained concealed. The Vatican was supposed to reveal it in 1960, but instead, it sealed the document. Church officials claimed that the content was overwhelming and that humanity was not prepared for such a revelation. But what message could be so devastating as to be kept secret for over 60 years? Some theories suggest that the third secret of Fátima speaks of a global catastrophic event. Others believe that the message foresees a crisis within the Church itself, a great apostasy that would lead to an unprecedented spiritual collapse. Now, under the pontificate of Pope Francis, this mystery has taken an unexpected turn. Francis has become one of the most forthright popes in addressing the Church's internal crises, discussing corruption, scandals, and the abandonment of traditional values. And it is precisely here that many believe lies the key to the third secret of Fátima. Could this prophecy be a warning about a rebellion within the Church? A caution about corruption that would spread internally, leading millions of faithful astray from the true path? On several occasions, Pope Francis has warned that the greatest danger to the Church does not come from outside, but from within. And this raises the question, are we witnessing the fulfillment of the third secret of Fátima at this very moment? During his visit to Fátima in 2017, for the centennial of the apparitions, Francis made enigmatic statements. He emphasized the importance of Mary's protection and mentioned the urgency of the times we live in. Some believe that his words indicate that the great trial prophesied at Fátima has already begun. The world is facing turbulent times. Wars, economic crises, natural disasters, divisions within the Church, and a growing distancing from faith. All these signs were foretold in the Marian prophecies. And perhaps the most alarming of all is the loss of faith itself. Churches are empty, priestly vocations are dwindling, and doctrinal confusion grows each day. Could this be the era of apostasy announced by the Virgin Mary? Are we living exactly the moment that was predicted more than a century ago? And the most frightening, Is Pope Francis about to confirm what the Church has feared to reveal for so long? Different popes have had unique relationships with Fatima. John Paul II was a devoted follower of the Virgin and even stated that he owed his life to her after the assassination attempt he suffered in 1981. In 2000, under his leadership, the Vatican revealed a part of the third secret, but many believe it was not the complete version. The doubt remains. Will Francis be the Pope who finally reveals the complete truth? The signs of the times are all around us. The Virgin's message was not just for the 20th century. It now seems more urgent than ever. Humanity ignored the calls for repentance and prayer, and, according to the prophecy, when that happens, the consequences can be devastating. But there is a great mystery. What exactly was revealed by the Virgin? Did the Vatican reveal everything, or just part of the truth? Is there something else that is still being kept secret? The story of Fatima is not just about an event of the past. It is alive and unfolding before us. The warnings have been given, the signs are everywhere. The big question is, are we ready to listen? On May 13, 1917, 3 humble children witnessed something that would change their lives forever. And not only theirs, but the fate of all humanity. What began as an ordinary afternoon in the countryside transformed into one of the most impactful religious events in history. The Virgin Mary appeared to Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta, bringing a message of urgency. She spoke about the danger looming over humanity, about wars that would come if people did not change their ways, and about a secret so disturbing that it would remain hidden for decades. Despite their tender age, the children became messengers of something much greater, but not everyone was willing to believe them. When news of the apparition spread, many accused them of lying or making up stories. Even the authorities tried to force them to deny their visions, but they never wavered. They knew that what they had seen was real, and the Virgin Mary had promised a sign so that the world would believe. Just as it had been announced every 13th day from May to October, the Virgin appeared again to the children. Her messages warned of suffering in the world, the dangers of sin, and the need for constant prayer. But on July 13, 1917, something happened. The Virgin entrusted the children with what would become the greatest mystery of Fatima, the 3 secrets. And the last of them was so impactful that the Church decided to keep it hidden. But why? The revelation of the third secret of Fatima has become one of the greatest mysteries in Church history. Why was something so important kept secret? What the Virgin Mary revealed to the children was so impactful that the Church decided not to disclose her message to the world in 1960, as was planned. But now, with current events, many believe that the prophecy is being fulfilled before our very eyes. What exactly did the Virgin show to Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta during that apparition on July 13, 1917? What could be so terrifying that the Vatican suppressed this message for decades? The answer may lie in the signs of the times. Ever since the content was kept hidden, multiple theories have emerged about what the secret really said. Some believe it speaks of a global cataclysm, an unprecedented destruction that could devastate humanity. Others believe that the message warns of a major crisis within the Church itself, a massive apostasy that would lead millions astray from the true faith. In 2000, the Vatican finally revealed part of the third secret. However, many faithful believe that the complete message has still not been disclosed. What was shown to the world was an enigmatic vision, a pope dressed in white crossing a ruined city surrounded by corpses until he was killed along with bishops and the faithful by armed soldiers. The Church interpreted this vision as a reference to the assassination attempt on John Paul II, which occurred on May 13, 1981, curiously on the anniversary of the first Fatima apparition. But did this explanation convince everyone? Or is there still something more that remains hidden? Even Pope Benedict XVI, when he was still Cardinal Ratzinger, stated that the content of Fátima had not been fully fulfilled. In 2010, as Pope, he declared that the messages of Fátima were not yet exhausted. But if the secret had already been completely revealed, why would he have said that? For many scholars and theologians, the true third secret speaks of a betrayal within the Church itself, a moral and spiritual collapse that would cause confusion to dominate even the most devout believers. The renowned theologian Cardinal Luigi Ciappi, who worked with several popes, stated that the third secret of Fátima deals with a great apostasy that would begin within the Church itself. Cardinal Silvio Oddi made a similar statement, suggesting that the message was so devastating that its revelation could shake the faith of millions. But perhaps the most impactful declaration came from Father Malachi Martin, a Jesuit who supposedly had access to the complete secret. He claimed that the message describes an insidious infiltration within the Church, where high-ranking leaders would be seduced by dark forces. If this is true, are we already living through this prophesied crisis? The doctrinal confusion within the Church has become increasingly evident. Changes that challenge centuries-old teachings, debates over topics that were once unquestionable, bishops and cardinals divided over the direction that faith should take. Could this be the great trial announced by the Virgin Mary? The moment when the enemy would not come from outside, but from within. If we analyze the words of Pope Francis himself, the situation becomes even more intriguing. He has made frequent statements about a crisis in the Church, warning that the danger does not lie in external persecutions, but in internal corruption. Is Pope Francis perhaps preparing the world to finally reveal the hidden part of the secret? Or is he himself already dealing with the consequences of this prophecy? What we know is that the signs are everywhere. The Church is divided, faith is in decline, and the world seems to be plunging into a moral and spiritual collapse. And if this is the great apostasy foretold, the Virgin Mary not only warned about the dangers to come, she also left a solution. During the apparitions, she insisted on the need for prayer, repentance, and consecration to her Immaculate Heart. The Rosary was cited as a powerful weapon against evil, something that should not be ignored. But how many people still pray the Rosary? How many still follow the Virgin's requests? The truth is that the world ignored Fátima's warnings. Wars continued, Christian values were attacked, society turned away from God, and now we are seeing the consequences. World War II happened exactly as predicted in the second secret, but the warning did not stop there. The Virgin also warned about the dangers of communism, an ideology that would spread throughout the world, deny God, and persecute Christians, and that is exactly what happened. The Russian Revolution of 1917, which led to the communist regime in the Soviet Union, occurred just months after the Fátima apparitions. For decades, millions of Christians were persecuted, imprisoned, and even killed for their faith. The Virgin Mary warned that if Russia was not consecrated to her Immaculate Heart, its errors would spread throughout the world. However, was the consecration performed by the popes over the years enough? Has the danger ended, or has it merely taken on new forms? Today, new anti-Christian ideologies continue to spread, weakening faith and destroying moral values. Society has normalized what was once considered sin and ridicules those who still try to live according to Christian principles. Pope John Paul II in 1984 made a worldwide consecration that many believe led to the collapse of Soviet communism. Just 5 years later, in 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, and in 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved. But does that mean that Fátima's warning has been overcome? Or are we entering a new phase of the prophecy? The world faces new crises, new persecutions, and a growing rejection of God. Has the great apostasy foretold by the Virgin already begun? The answer may lie in the upcoming global events. International tensions are rising, natural disasters are intensifying, and conflicts within the Church are becoming more evident. The big question is, are we prepared? The Virgin Mary made it clear that in the end, her Immaculate Heart will triumph. But before that triumph, there will be trials, and each person will have to choose which side they will be on. We can no longer ignore the signs. The world is changing rapidly, and those who remain indifferent may be caught off guard when the final events unfold. And now, I ask you, do you believe that the third secret of Fátima has still not been completely revealed? Do you think we are already living the announced crisis? Leave your comment below and share this message with as many people as possible. Time is running out, and the truth must be known before it is too late. If Fátima's warnings were ignored in the past, is there still time to change the course of humanity, or are we already bound to the destiny foretold by the Virgin Mary? What happened on October 13, 1917, may be proof that the world received a clear sign from heaven, but simply chose not to listen. On that day, before more than 70,000 people, one of the most impressive events in modern history occurred: the miracle of the sun. What they witnessed was not a vision meant only for the devout. Journalists, scientists, and even skeptics present described the same phenomenon. The sun seemed to spin in the sky, changing color, pulsating in an inexplicable manner, and at one point descending toward the earth as if it were about to collide with the planet. Panic took hold of the crowd. Many people screamed in fear, believing that the world was about to end. Some fell to their knees and prayed, others cried uncontrollably. And then, suddenly, everything returned to normal. But something extraordinary had happened. Those who had been completely soaked by the rain that fell before the miracle discovered that their clothes were dry. The ground, which had been muddy, became dry instantly. This event was witnessed from miles away by people who did not even know that an apparition was taking place. It was not a collective hallucination, nor a trick of the mind. What was this event, if not undeniable proof that the Fátima apparitions were real? And if this miracle happened, does that not mean that the warnings were also real? If humanity had listened to the Virgin's words at that moment, could the horrors of the 20th century have been avoided? World War II, the advance of atheistic ideologies, the destruction of Christian values, the massive loss of faith, could all that have been different? But the most important question is, now, more than 100 years later, is there still time to heed the divine call? Or are we already reaping the consequences of ignoring this message? The prophecy did not only say that great punishments would befall humanity. It also spoke of a solution, a way to prevent all of this from happening. Prayer, repentance, and consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary were the most important requests made by the Virgin. And even after so many devastating events, has the world changed? Or is humanity still following the same path of rebellion against God? The current scenario seems to indicate that the answer is not encouraging at all. What is happening today leads us to an inevitable conclusion. The signs of Fátima continue to be fulfilled before our very eyes. The moral and spiritual crisis that the world currently faces cannot be ignored. Values that were defended for centuries are now rejected. What was once considered sin is now celebrated. What was once sacred is now a subject of ridicule. Even Christianity itself, which shaped entire civilizations, is being attacked like never before. Churches are closing, priests and bishops face persecution, and millions of people have simply lost their faith. Has the great apostasy foretold in the prophecy already begun? The signs are not limited only to the Church. The world is being shaken by natural disasters, armed conflicts, international tensions, and economic crises. And all this leads us to an alarming question. Are we already on the brink of the Great Tribulation. The Virgin Mary did not speak only of punishments. She warned that if humanity did not turn back to God, times of suffering would come. But she also left a powerful promise. In the end, the Immaculate Heart of Mary will triumph. But before the triumph, the battle will come. And that battle has already begun. Even Pope Benedict XVI, before his resignation, made an enigmatic statement. He said that the greatest threat to the Church would not come from outside, but from within. The Church is being tested. Faith is being put to the test. The prophecy spoke of a betrayal within the Church itself, an infiltration that would lead many to stray from the faith. Is that happening now? Throughout his pontificate, Pope Francis has made several references to the Fátima prophecies. But will he reveal what may still be hidden in the third secret? Some believe that the complete revelation of the prophecy has not yet occurred. Others say that the Vatican is waiting for the right moment to disclose it. But what would happen if the complete truth were fully revealed? Could the faith of millions be shaken? Or would it be precisely the shock needed for the world to wake up to the gravity of the situation? Regardless of the answer, one thing is certain. The message of Fátima continues to resonate in today's world, stronger than ever. The question now is not whether the prophecy will still be fulfilled, but whether we are already living its fulfillment. The miracle of the sun was a warning for humanity not to ignore this message. But did we listen? If the answer is no, then perhaps it is too late to avoid what is to come. But the Virgin gave us one last chance. She did not come only to warn us of punishments, but also to offer us a way out. The solution she offered is simple, yet powerful. Constant prayer, especially the Rosary, sincere conversion, consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. If these things were put into practice, could it be possible to avoid the worst punishments? The answer is in our hands. Whatever the fate of the world, one thing is certain: the final battle is happening right now. And the question that everyone needs to answer is, on which side will you be? Now I ask you, do you believe that the signs of Fátima are already being fulfilled? Leave your comment below with "Virgin of Fátima, protect us," so that we can show that the message still lives. And share this video with everyone who needs to hear this message before it is too late. The Virgin Mary gave us the solution. The only question is, will we be wise enough to listen?